let's make our picks for this weekend in the NFL. Starting off with Green Bay at Chicago, rivalry game, divisional game. The Green Bay Packers are 5.5-point favorites on the road. 5.5. I mean, that's an interesting line. I will say that tells you all you need to know about what the books feel about Chicago. And the Chicago Bears, they new offensive coordinator this week with Caleb. Now, there was a report that suggested, I think it came out on ESPN a couple days ago or maybe last night, that says that Caleb was, they were he's unable to grasp the offense in general. Okay, so he can't control the line of scrimmage, and so many of those things are happening. So it's like, yeah, give me the Green Bay Packers. Like, that is, wow, I feel for Bears fans, man. That is a tough situation to be in because they feel, the writing might already be on the wall. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying it could be. Let's move on. Jacksonville at Detroit. The Detroit Lions are getting 14 points. So the Lions are favored by 2 touchdowns. No Trevor Lawrence for Jacksonville, but 2 touchdowns. No Sam Laporta, by the way, for Detroit. I wonder when the last time it was that the Detroit Lions were favored by 2 touchdowns against any team. This is a tough one. 2 touchdowns feels like a lot of points. That feels like too many points, even at home. I'm gonna go with Jacksonville to cover, but I think Detroit's gonna win. But I think Mac Jones can keep them within 2 scores. Like 14 points, that's a lot against a team that has struggled. But like, come on, Jacksonville is not like the worst team in the NFL, and I just feel like that's a lot of points to be getting. That being said, though, Jared Goff coming off of a 5-pick game, like this could be a game where they just go berserk, or they don't ask him to throw the ball that much. This could be one of those games. We'll see what happens there. Minnesota at Tennessee. Minnesota's favored by 6.5 points. In Tennessee defense kind of scares me because they're pretty good. Minnesota, obviously a lot, I'm still on the Sam Darnold bandwagon, but a lot of people in Minnesota have started to kind of come off of that wagon because of the recent turnovers. That being said, he's still won. You know what I mean? Like, let's not be one of these teams that thinks that you're good enough that you can just complain when you win, right? Like, the Minnesota Vikings are, you're not that team yet. So I think that if he's winning, let's temper our expectations. I like Minnesota to cover as well. I think that the Tennessee Titans are a dumpster fire organization right now. They're in a tough situation. I don't know where it goes from here, but again, we like that defense. We think that defense is pretty good. It definitely can get pressure, especially with, no Christian Darrisaw. Yes, they did get Cam Johnson from Jacksonville on that left tackle position, but we don't know exactly how that's going to play out. I know they struggled against Jacksonville to keep Sam Darnold kind of clean. Darnold didn't make great throws as well, but I like the Minnesota Vikings to come out and be aggressive and play well this weekend in Nashville. Let's move on. Las Vegas at Miami. Miami is favored by a touchdown, 7 points. Like, that's a lot. That is a lot of points to be getting. Now, I will say Vegas is traveling from, obviously the West Coast all the way down. Like, Miami's way down there. I don't know if y'all have ever seen a map, but Miami's way down there, and I feel like that has to play a factor in it, the travel and all that. And obviously the books like Miami after what they saw on Monday Night Football against the Rams. But I think I'm going to go Vegas to cover. Obviously, I'm a little biased as a Vegas fan. But I'm going to go Las Vegas Raiders to cover. I don't know if we're going to win that game. Okay. It's been a tough year. I don't want to go. I don't want to get into it. I feel like I've ranted enough about the Raiders, but I don't want to get into it. It's just what a tough year. I don't know what we expected, but I expected a little bit more. I don't know. Competent ability. I thought we could have been a 7-9 win team. I didn't think that we were a playoff team. I didn't think any of that. Obviously, I understood with Aiden O'Connell or Gardner Minshew that we're not going to win against good teams. I just felt like our defense could have carried us, and then Wilkins gets hurt. And then we just haven't played well. I feel like play calling hasn't been good. The culture hasn't been good. Devontae Adams situation happens. It's a whole lot. It is, let's just get Shedeur. Okay, let's just get Shedeur Sanders, and we'll kind of go from there. Okay, let's move on. Loss and the Rams at New England. The Rams are favored by 4.5. I guess. But I'm going to go New England. I'm going to go New England to win and to cover. I kind of like the 43.5 is the line. I kind of like the under in this game. I think Matt Stafford is good. We like Matt Stafford, but what New England is starting to kind of build here is what I really like. And Drake May, he's a guy. He is a guy. If he can just take care of the football and, let their defense kind of get after Matt Stafford, I think that this is going to be a New England team that kind of finishes the year off pretty good. Like this could be a 5 to 8 win team at this close to the end of the year. So I'm going to go with New England. I think the Rams, they got a lot to figure out. The Browns at New Orleans. This is a pick'em game. The Browns are 1-point favorites in New Orleans. Jameis Winston coming back to New Orleans. Obviously, the Saints coming off of a big win against Atlanta in their division with the new interim head coach, Rizzi. This might be one of those games where Jameis Winston goes back to being Jameis Winston. But I like the New Orleans Saints to win. I also like the over in this one as well at 44.5. I like New Orleans to win. I know that there are some injuries on the offensive side of the ball for New Orleans with Chris Olave being out as well. I just think that, you've gotten a little boost with the culture change. I didn't think Dennis Allen was going to last in the offseason. I'm surprised that they brought him back anyways. But I think Derek Carr is, starting to figure it out. And I think, this is a game that they need to get. Colts at New York. This is so Indianapolis at New York. The New York Jets are 4-point favorites at home. I don't know. That seems like an insane line to me. I don't know. The books know something that we don't. Anthony Richardson back in the starting lineup as their quarterback, which, again, kind of already went into this. Don't want to get into it again. Interesting situation happening in Indianapolis. But, man, the New York Jets, though. Well, I don't know. I'm going to go with the Colts. I think the Colts win. I think they cover as well. Okay, let's move on. I think this is supposed to be the game of the week. I'm surprised that they didn't flex this, but Baltimore at Pittsburgh, obviously a rivalry game with it being a division game at Pittsburgh. Baltimore is a 3-point favorite. It's pretty much a pick'em game. I don't know. I don't know where to go on this one because I think that Pittsburgh, as great as they are, right? Like I said in the last episode, they have to play pretty much perfect to win by 1 against the Commanders, and the Baltimore defense is not good at all. But could they, now even without Kyle Hamilton, we'll see what the status on him is and how long he might have to miss. I just don't know if they can recover from that. on their defense. I still think that Baltimore offense is good enough. But, they got TJ Watt. If there's one person you can't let ruin the game, it's TJ Watt. And I think that, Pittsburgh plays Baltimore. Mike Tomlin's defense plays Lamar Jackson pretty well. I'm going to go Pittsburgh Steelers here. I think the Pittsburgh Steelers get a big win against the Baltimore Ravens at home. And they keep it moving. Let's move on to Atlanta at Denver. Denver's favored by two. Wow, Denver's favored by 2 points here. That's an interesting line. I didn't know the public and the sports books liked Denver as much as this is showing, especially against an Atlanta team that has shown flashes of being really good. I'm also going to stick with the public. I'm going to go with the Denver Broncos. I just think that defense is going to give problems to Atlanta, and I also think because it being in Mile High, Atlanta's going to struggle with the altitude as well. Seattle at San Francisco. In Santa Clara, San Francisco's getting 6.5 points at home. Look, y'all know how I feel about the Seattle Seahawks, man. Like, they have been in a horrendous situation, and it does not get any better. Yes, they do get DK Metcalf back, but I'll tell y'all something, man. The Seattle Seahawks just announced that their center has retired. Their starting center. Right? Let's pull up his name, actually. This is how bad it is. It's how bad it is that their starting center has just decided to retire. And y'all telling me that this is, at 27 years old, Connor Williams has decided to retire. He's played every game for the Seattle Seahawks. And after week 10, he's just like, nah, bro, I can't do this. And he's decided to retire. And I can't blame him if I was playing there right now either. I can't blame him. Because they're in a tough situation. I don't know how it gets better. Because you're not a bad team. But you're one of those teams that's on the fringe. So I don't know how it gets better, but I'm going to go with the San Francisco 49ers. Obviously, McCaffrey's back. That team, obviously, the sports books like them, the public likes them to win the NFC, not just the NFC West. It's the Eagles, it's the Lions, it's the Niners. So we haven't lost faith in the Niners yet. I don't think that Niners fans have either. They've showed a lot of good things. I think Kyle's still Kyle Shanahan. So, they usually play Seattle pretty well anyways. I think this is a close game. I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't hesitate because, 6.5 is still a lot. Seattle could cover that. I don't think that they are in a position to. So I'm going to stick with the San Francisco 49ers. Let's move on. Kansas City at Buffalo. Buffalo is favored by 2, which makes absolutely no sense. If you tell me that Pat Mahomes is an underdog, I'm going to take him 100% of the time. There's not enough motivation you can, continue to fuel this team with. So I am going to continue to take the Kansas City Chiefs until they show us that they are beatable. I don't think that they will be. Obviously, Buffalo's a good team. They usually play them really well in the regular season and then don't play them well in the playoffs. But I like the Chiefs to win this game and cover. Now, let's move on to Sunday Night Football. Cincinnati Bengals at the Chargers. Now, this is a really interesting game because it's a big game for both teams, right? The Bengals aren't out of it yet, but if they lose, they probably are, right? But they get T. Higgins back. And if you notice, their offense has been humming. It's just that defense hasn't been good, right? The Chargers on the other side, they haven't even asked Justin Herbert to be Herbie, right? They haven't even asked him to throw the ball that much because they're, Jim Harbaugh has completely changed the culture of that franchise, right? They're going to run the ball, and they're going to rely on their defense to play well enough. And when Herbie needs to be Herbie, then we'll ask him to make that throw. But we don't need him to be Superman. We don't need him to be throwing the football 50 times a game and win by 2 points. Or the Chargers of old are going to lose this game in a heartbreaking fashion. I don't know if that happens again, but I like the Bengals here, and I will say that they have struggled in their defense, but I think Joe has played really well. Obviously, Jamar's played really well. I think T. Higgins coming back is a big deal. I do. I think that they needed a second punch, and I think it's going to be a tough game. This is a pretty good Sunday Night Football game. I'm happy it got flexed. It's a big game, I think, for both teams. And I also think if you're the Chargers, like this is a game that your fans have been waiting for you to win. It's a big game. It's against a good team, good quarterback on the other side. This is why you brought in Jim Harbaugh, to win these types of games, and I think that they get it done. But I for me, right? Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Chargers. Yeah, I don't know why. Yeah, I don't know. No, I think the Chargers gonna. Yeah, I'm going with the Chargers. I'm going with the Chargers. Yeah, I'm going with the Chargers. I'm not changing that anymore. Even though I love Joe Burrow and Jamar, the Bayou Bengals, but I think the Chargers are going to win this game because they need to, honestly, for us to change our opinion on who they're going to be going forward. I think that they need to win this game. And if you're the Bengals, right, like again, you're not mathematically eliminated, but if you lose this game, I think you're one step closer to that, if not already there. So yeah, we'll kind of go from there.